We'll continue to implement it, certainly. It was good to us. It was successful. But it's only something that you're using if you're successful with it. It can be a real detriment, especially to your defense, if you're not coming off the field quite quickly. So we'll mix it in, not something that we'll use all the time. Quite honestly, I expect that coming from the minute we decided to play him. He was just really standing out down in scout team preparation, catching everything. So some of the drops that he's had have come as a surprise to me. I think he got a catch early and he gained about 22 yards or something close to that and got up fist pumping and excited. I think that probably had a lot to do with adding to his confidence, and he really played well. That was something that, or excuse me, blocked well. That was something that probably went unnoticed in the game, and he has not been doing a very good job of that. So it was really pleasing to see him block well in several of those perimeter plays, as well as catch the ball. You don't keep up with it, and what you do even more is you worry less about trying to keep up with it, because you're not going to do it. And you got to have the things in place that you feel you need to be successful, and Jamie Pollard is making sure of that within our program. And then you go out and continue to recruit players that fit your program, that have the best ability possible, and coach them up, make the fewest amount of mistakes, play hard, and give yourselves a chance to compete. When it comes to, I don't know, coaching retention, competing against guys that are going to offer, a lot of money, recruiting the guys that are labeled as the top players across the country. I mean, you're not going to be a part of that. If it comes to that, you move on and find a better solution that fits Iowa State University, and that's how we try to operate. Well, they've got a roster full of a lot of dynamic players. I mean, you've stood on that sideline or been close to both programs as they walk on the field. There's a distinct difference in how both teams look, in my opinion. I think there might be a difference in how some NFL teams look compared to Texas's roster when they walk on the field. I wouldn't agree with the fact that our running backs aren't playing very good. I think our running game has not been very good, but I wouldn't say the running backs have played poorly. And you're talking about the fact that 66% of our two deep and wide receivers was out in the Toledo game. Yeah, we're doing it without some players. I think Sam's level of play has been very important to keeping us competitive and leading us to the victory column against Toledo. He was really good in the second half of that game. We need him to remain that way and even keep improving as the year goes into the second half. Bigger receivers aren't necessarily better, but bigger receivers in certain situations are a positive, and we thought we matched up well with our receiving core against their secondary, and a piece of that just happened to be big bodies, and part of that is who remains. You got Wesley, and really Wesley was only the smaller of the group that was out there, but there was a lot of snaps where we had two sophomores and a freshman, or two freshmen and a sophomores out there leading us offensively from a receiving standpoint. Every game in this league is a national stage and a great opportunity. You're talking about a league that right now has half of its football teams in the top 15 in the country. Half of its football teams are in the top 15 in the country. That's a pretty impressive number. So every week is a great opportunity. And you're right. This is one of the storied programs in college football. And anytime you get to play Texas, whether it's at home or in Austin, it's a great challenge, great opportunity, and our guys will look forward to it. There's always a lot of transition, turnover, change in the first year of a program, wherever it's at, and APR scores suffer because of that, and it's a matter of building your culture, fitting your philosophy, and you inherit the majority of what it is that you're going to fit that too, and obviously there's been some things that haven't matched, and Charlie's made changes. Charlie's a sensational coach, and you're right, he's a great disciplinarian. He's a disciplinarian for the better. He's a guy that it's not all about X's and O's. I mean, he's in the business of raising young men, and I admire that. They have to, first of all, in our defense. Looking back, it's a triangle of the Mike linebacker and the two safeties in our defense that have always produced a lot of numbers, and Jake from the will spot also. So the defense is set up for that to take place. Seeing it start to take place is beneficial to us. Kamari had his best game. He was voted our player of the game from a defensive skill standpoint with big numbers as well as a presence in the pass game. Could have had an interception. Those guys are starting to grow up a little bit and probably right on time as you're finishing up 6 games. 5 for him because of a situation earlier in the season. I'd say with certainty that he's fulfilling the expectations that everybody placed on him, which is exciting. He's a very mature young man, as I've stated before. He's got a great work ethic. He's got a really good understanding of our offense right now, maybe more so than I expected. I observed him last week in practice, not only helping out Juwan, but helping out other guys at the line of scrimmage as we were preparing to run plays in practice. Very impressive to me. I think his hands have improved since he arrived on campus. He made a lot of great catches in high school and a lot of great catches in the things that he did outside, the 7-on-7 stuff and the things he was a part of. But he wasn't as consistent with the every down catch. Well, Saturday, he made just about every one of those every down catches, and he made a sensational one-hand stab over on their sideline. Yeah, he's fulfilling expectations, and we're thrilled with that, and he also has a high ceiling yet to achieve under. I think they're down in depth because they have lost a number of players off their roster. Anytime there are 9 guys that were there months ago and aren't there now, you're going to have some thin spots. So I think that's a piece of it. I mean, you simply look at their depth roster and you see guys multiply listed. So there's some issues there. Their defense might be as good as there is in the country. You all saw Baylor. Baylor had 7 points in the first half and 14 points later in that game. Oklahoma's offense is very explosive, and you saw what they did with them. So their defense is outstanding. I don't know if they're terribly vulnerable there. They got an offense that's operating out of a young quarterback and starting to get a feel for themselves. There are a number of things that they do that concern us greatly as we begin preparation. Become consistent, really become consistent. And any time you have a competition at a position, they're performing out there on the practice field, and you're watching all of it. And with the kicking position, it's fairly easy. You line them both up at the 30-yard line, and you kick 2 with each of them. You see who does well, and with wind and with maybe the whole team surrounding them and heckling them a little bit and all that. And he's become really consistent in his work. And his execution of his tasks. I think so. I mean, you're always looking for positives and things to build on. Anytime you end up with a victory, the guys come in more willing to be coached, and you're going to get more out of them on the practice field in preparation. We continue to discover things about this particular football team and then work to apply it. We had a different level of energy in the second half, and that was a tribute to them. I'll tell you exactly what I told him. Coaches yell and scream and do all that and try to motivate you, but it rarely works. It's got to come from the players, and it did come from the players, and it was a lot of fun to watch them in the second half as they drew a line in the sand, if you will, and came out and played at a different level.